Good evening. Thank you for your kind introduction. I'll be talking about basically it's more about outcome-based education. So mostly, once you have this course program designed, then you'll have to deliver the course. So mostly, I'll be talking today about the course delivery part actually. So how do you deliver the course? Because even if you have a efficient or effective course plan, then you will have to deliver it. Like finally, it is how are you going to deliver the material to the students and how the students are going to achieve what is expected out of them. What is objectives? How do you make sure that they learn? So one main important or main part of this OBE, outcome-based education, is the course delivery time. And the conventional way of delivering courses has dramatically changed because of online education and so many other things. Like earlier we used to lecture. Even our designation was like lecturers. Like we lecture, they learn. Apart from that, maybe probably in other discipline like physics and all, you'll have some kind of laboratory experiment. So this was the conventional type of education, and now we are moving on to many other different dimensions. Like there are a lot of things are happening around the world, and that is getting impacted in the education sector also. Like mostly we are using most of the latest technologies, including artificial intelligence for teaching and learning analytics, all kinds of things. Like so, there are a lot of tools also. Like so, the main thing is that how effectively we deliver this course, how effectively we deliver the course, so that the students can learn. But one thing is that now we are talking about from teacher-centric education to the student-centric education. Like finally, how good you deliver the course, how good your lecture is, how effectively, how oratory, what's the level of oratory of your oratory level, like how good you speak. But finally, whether the student learn or not is the main thing, like whether the objectives are met or not. So how effectively you can do that is the main question. So there are a lot of technologies which we can imbibe. Now, there are a lot of new trends are also there in delivery and designing, etc. Like, say for example, one of the latest trend is like a gamification. So make every learning event as like playing a game. Like why students, especially school kids, or they are getting addicted to games. Now everybody is talking about that. If they are getting addicted to games, why can't they get addicted to a learning process like for education? So that is another question. Like see, in gaming, see, whenever you achieve something, you get some reward. Like so once you get a small reward, you will tend to have more rewards. Like so that is one trend. So how this can be imitated or imbibed, this can be imbibed into the education scenario. Suppose if a student, earlier what we were doing is if a student get good marks, they will feel like they got rewarded. But every is unit, every micro part of that course, if they learn, if they get points or some kind of badges, something, if they get, they will be what you call motivated to learn, do further. Like so the gamification is like basically kind of playing with and get rewards by learning. Like that motivates students. This is not. When we say this about gamification, this and we may think that this is only for school kids. It's not. Like a college students. Not only that, even professors. We all know some professors are very much into research actually. So they publish, they do research. They fully devote their life for doing scientific research actually. So what do they get? Like it's not like they get promotion or they get salary or financial benefit or promotion or reward or something like that. The reward they mainly get is the publication. Like when they get a good publication in a top journal, top rated journal, it's like getting a reward in a game, like playing a game and get some kind of reward. It's same as that actually. So motivate one to do something is the main thing actually. So forcing a student to learn is a totally different thing. Like if you can motivate them to do, if they feel, if they cherish what they do, if they enjoy what they do, then they will do it in a better way. Everybody is so, like, even including us, like, if we enjoy something, then we will do it properly. Like, so these kind of way, how the education, how the course delivery, or attending a class or something, how we can change entirely. So that is the main thing. That is the main thing. And many a times when we teach in the conventional way, especially I'm a mathematics teacher, I read mathematics till my master's, then I did kind of computation and other things. So when mathematics actually, so what they talk is, they will give a definition, and then they teach the theorem and the proof about that. So by stating a definition, by providing a definition, thereafter they keep on starting theorems. Right? Then the point of the student is, the question is like, why do you want to have all these theorems? Right? Why do, they may not get the whole point? Like, that is one issue with that. Actually, so we simply prove, they will write. Of course, if you ask them to state and prove a theorem, they will do it. But why are these, that kind of questions are not bad? Earlier, it was very difficult to get these kind of answers to these questions. So mostly teachers won't give. Now, because of internet and all, you will get this kind of answers. I'll tell you one example. Like, say for example, the root of 25 is 5, right? Root of 16 is 4. Root of 9, square root of 9 is 3, right? So these numbers have got square root. Then what is the root of minus 9? We do not have no number, if you multiply twice, won't get to minus 9. So minus 9 does not have a root. Minus 16 does not have a root. Minus 25 does not have a root. So instead of saying all these numbers do not have a root, we can easily say that minus 1 does not have a root. So we put it's an imaginary number, but actually we cannot have a number. So we say it is imaginary number I. So root of minus 1 is I, right? So then we will have a real part, and then we will say complex numbers, like, a real part, and we might say something like 3 plus 4i, or a plus I, complex number. After defining this complex number, we will start proving theorems like Cauchy-Riemann condition. So many theorems we will start proving it. So what would be the doubt of a student? They will be thinking that, what is the use of all these theorems? Why the hell we have to prove all these theorems? But still, minus 1 did not have a root. Minus 1 does not have a root. Minus 1 will not have a root. Then why the hell all these theorems? Like, that is a question a student may have. But the way we conventionally teach is that we'll give the definition and they'll start proving theorems. So the whole purpose is always missing. Like, why should they? Then we probably might say that it has got a lot of applications in electrical engineering. Of course, it has got application in electrical engineering. But still, the question is that if a root of minus 1 does not exist, then how can you apply it in electrical engineering, or for that matter any other branch? How can you apply if it does not exist, the root is not existing? So that kind of questions we have to introduce. So personally, I tend to think that when you introduce a subject, we have to give these kind of basic questions. Like now, because the way we teach continuously, students won't even ask questions, these kind of questions. They may ask a minor question, what is this equation, what is this for? They won't ask any fundamental questions also. That it has become, because the way we were teaching. So that was the problem. So when the student should know the fundamentals, then they should also know why should they learn actually. So if minus 1 does not have a root, why should they learn complex analysis, the whole theory? Like, so that these are the questions we should address at the beginning itself. We have to motivate actually. So I mean, there now we have a lot of tools also. Like earlier we were just giving lectures. Like, so course delivery has totally changed these days. There are a lot of tools, including mobile phones and so many other tools. Are there, like even virtual reality, augmented reality are being used in teaching the course delivery. So say for example, somebody wants to teach about the heart or something. Then with the virtual reality, you can even see traveling through the heart or vein or something like that. You can see. Then the student will understand the structure more clearly. Like if you have that kind of things. So is it possible to include this kind of technology in a positive way? Like that is the main thing. Like addiction of technology may not substitute the real learning process. That we should be careful about. But these are our technologies we can easily use. Even otherwise, we were all using technologies even earlier, like, okay. So, even if you think about the course deliveries modes, we can have the face-to-face traditional classroom delivery method, that is a conventional way of delivering course lecturing, like. Then web-enabled courses. Web-enabled courses means not just completely online courses. We'll have, suppose, mostly many universities, a course lecturer will have a course page actually. So in the course page, they will provide all the material, additional material, some subsequent videos, etc., will be provided to the web actually. So they will attend the course. In a way, it is kind of a hybrid way of learning. Like, they will have a traditional lectures, and then they will be supplemented with materials online, like through web pages and all. So that will enable the students to learn in a better way, like, that is because that is more convenient, like. So that kind of things. Then online courses are almost now is the theme of today, like, especially because of the COVID pandemic and all. So that has become very popular these days actually, and many ways it is very effective also, because most of you are from computer science. When I personally tend to think that for teaching computer science is even better in online course than a traditional. You suppose if you write a program in a blackboard and ask them to write or do it, or it is even better to do this kind of online. You can provide programs and they can run it, and yeah, for online or computer science, online teaching is even better. Like, you can lot of links. Even otherwise, what I thought is, suppose you found some useful material online, how do you give that link or that to the students? I mean, if you are giving with web-enabled course or online course or something, you can simply provide the link. So the students will click and they will go to the site. Otherwise, in a conventional way of face-to-face lecture kind of thing, you can't give that kind of link. Of course, you can give, but they have to go to lab, or later they have to go note down the link. This may not be a bit inconvenient, actually. So technology enabled has made our life easier in many aspects, right, including education, right, actually. So another thing is that we can reach the vast majority of the community for education, right. Conventional way of classes, the number of students you can admit is limited actually. So with the online way of online courses, you can have you can educate a large number of students, like, with all these. Yes. And the good thing with the video classes are that they can rewind, hear it again and again. So in a face-to-face, or you will talk, or you will deliver the course once and they can rewind. So there are a lot of good things with that actually. So basically, we can classify the traditional the course delivery modes as face-to-face traditional classroom, web-enabled courses, and online courses in life. And yeah, one thing is that you have to motivate the student for why should they learn. Like, motivation is the main thing. Main thing. If a student is self-motivated, really good actually. Otherwise, how can we motivate student to learn? I mean, they have different backgrounds, different knowledge level, and suppose you are delivering something. So how can you deliver it? So these days now we talk about personalized learning. Like, there may be fast learners. For them, you don't have to lecture too much, or you don't have to give too much material or something. They will learn very fast. But there are slow learners also. But in a class, you can't avoid that situation. Everybody should be fast learners, or everybody should be slow learners. We can lecture more or something. That is not the situation is not very ideal actually in real. So what you have to do is that you have to adopt a technology to manage both students, like slow learners and fast learners. Like, how can you do that? So there are, when you talk about this, then you can have lectures, laboratories, seminars, studio, independent study, and study abroad. In many universities, part of their course, they will do it in the university enrolled in, and the rest, one or two courses, one or two credits, they will go to some other university and take it. Maybe in another country, like, they will get a real experience. Especially for art and other things, they can have studio classes. They will perform, and then by doing. And even students, there are different kinds of, in the sense in terms of learning. Like, some students, if you lecture, they will learn actually. If you tell something, they will learn. Some students want to additional visual aids to learn actually. As some students want to do it, then only will learn actually. So for that, you have to give exercise for them to do it and then learn. Then they may make some mistakes, but by doing that, they will learn it actually. Now, that is the when you give in a conventional way. Now we tell technology enhanced formats like we include technology for to deliver courses like including mobile phone or online courses with this web page, internet, and other things. All this. Then these things you can classify into two categories like a synchronized mode and asynchronized mode. Synchronized means mostly you will be giving live lectures like the one I am talking to you now. Like you are attending in live. So in asynchronous mode, we will record the video and put it online. Students will watch the video according to their own terms. Like some students may watch in the initial immediately after it is being posted in the website, but some students will watch later according to their convenience. Like. So there are two kinds, two types, two category we can say. Other main modes of technology enabled delivering, especially in face-to-face and this in the hybrid mode, like when you are using internet. In a face-to-face traditional way of teaching, we don't provide anything online. Now, but in countries like in India, there are limitations like everybody is not having access to the internet. That's a real limitation. And the gadgets like mobile phone, most of the students might have, but there are a good percentage of Indian population may not have that this kind of smartphone and other things. Actually, that is also an issue. But traditionally, we'll directly give and we'll give lecture notes like printed notes or handwritten notes. We'll provide to the students. But in web-enabled systems, like from usually, these are not exact statistics, but roughly from 1% to up to 30% of the material you will provide online. So you give traditional lecturing, traditional kind of lecturing. After that, you provide the material online. So the good thing is that when you lecture, the time is limited. You may not be able to what you call elaborate everything in the class and other things. But when you provide a lecture notes or other material, you can have a detailed material for online. And that in two different ways you can provide. Maybe one shortened version for those who need only that much, or an elaborate version for those who need further studies. We can provide anything, like all the materials we can provide, including videos, that kind of thing. Like hybrid and blended model means about 30 to 80%, up to 80% you give in a hybrid or blended learning. In the sense, you'll have a traditional kind of teaching. At the same time, you will also provide these. Online, mostly 80% of the material we will give online. And yeah, course delivery modeling is these are the three different types of delivery methods. And there are a lot of tips you can get if you search online. Like, this is one of the university they give. How can you become a successful college teacher? Right? I mean, the main thing is that the mastery of your subject. That's the main thing. Irrespective of all the technology, how good you speak and everything. Yeah, apart from all these things, the basic stuff may make you as a successful teacher the master of your subject. So what we're going to teach, you should be a master about that. You should know thoroughly the subject. That's the main thing. If we can repeat things like, as I said, we provide a definition and prove theorems, then you should be also sorry for that. You should also be able to know why this subject, what is the motivation for this kind of definition and stuff like that. Even if you do something from one programming language, if you go to some other programming language, why should you switch over to the other programming language? That you should know. Apart from that, you simply teach upon programming language. You need to know what the base actually, the basic, the master of the subject is the main thing. And you should accept all those who enter the classroom. Like in the sense, some teachers may encourage those who are learning very fast and etc. But you have to accept all those who are coming to the class. Right? And even if you are a very popular teacher, other students, maybe if you are giving an extra departmental elective course or a general kind of course, other students from different branches would also come. One problem with the computer science in particular is that Now, computer science, machine learning, artificial intelligence, these kind of courses are being provided to all students in all discipline. Like in many university, even chemistry students, they have to take one course on machine learning. Like it's part of the computer science, because machine learning and artificial intelligence is being used in a very many different areas. Like recently, there is something called knowledge discovery, automated knowledge discovery. So the computer will discover new things. Recently, one paper is published in Nature is that the computer program identified a new material. New material. You might have heard of something like word to vector. Word to vector. Words you can convert into vectors, and using that, actually, you put what they did is actually they took around 5 million abstract and put it into a software. The software analyzed using word to vector. They identified a new relation. Like I will tell you one example. Like in one paper, sometimes you might have invented that A and B are connected, somehow related, in one research paper. Maybe after 10 years or 15 years later, then B and C are connected or somehow the relationship there, like that may be there in that paper. So if you can combine these two, then you will come to know that A is connected to C. That is a new information. Like so, this kind of area like knowledge graph, this kind of word to vector, that is being applied in very many different things. Even medical doctors want to fix the therapy, like, what kind of medicine they have to prescribe on patient, and it depends upon the body characteristics of the patient, like which kind of medicine or which kind of therapy must be most suitable for a particular patient. They will use this kind of machine learning techniques actually to decide. So, I mean, what I'm trying to say is that a lot of new things are there coming into this actually. So you have to teach other students computer science, like chemistry students and physics students. How are you going to teach this computer science to those students? Earlier we used to say that you should have a minimum kind of knowledge in one area, then only we can teach the next level. So is it possible to teach somebody who does not know anything about the computer science to start programming also? So now it is up to us to devise a technology. It is up to us to devise methodology to teach them, even if they don't have any background in computer science, how to teach the programming and this kind of stuff. It is possible, but we have to put it in the right way to deliver the material so that they can learn. And plan your instructional management actually. So management of the class is the main thing actually. Once you have a OBE, outcome-based education kind of program, you decide everything. Your course you have decided, what comes you have said. You also decided what content should be there to teach everything. It is decided. Then you have to deliver the course. No? Then you should have a management scheme. How are you going? Say, for example, one part of the course. How are you going to deliver? Whether you want to just to deliver it as a lecture class or lecture class, or a seminar or an assignment or a practical session, that you have to decide actually. So that depends upon the content. If some contents, lectures may be good, but for some contents, other kind of program, laboratory experience may be good, that you have to decide. And what this says is that you should have a plan beforehand, before we start giving the lecture. So it should not be like a piecemeal kind of thing at the day when you are going to teach. You decide. It should not be like that. Beforehand, you should have a complete plan. What are you going to deliver? How are you going to deliver? Each part you should have. How are you going to assess them? Each part, whether they have picked up the idea, like what you wanted them to learn, whether they have really learned that thing, or whether they have that kind of skill that you have to, alongside you have to also test. Otherwise, you have to what you call assess. Otherwise, if the basic thing is they are not they are not capturing the higher things, they may not learn properly. Like even if you deliver without assessing whether they learn the basics or not, then further if you deliver, that may not be very easy for them to learn fast. That is one thing. So you should have a complete management. This we talk about that. We all know that we should have a plan beforehand, everything, but we don't. Many a times we don't practice. But if you can practice, this is very convenient. That is my experience actually. So we can plan in their course, how to deliver everything in advance, and it will go systematically. Like it will be very convenient for us also. Initially, it may take a bit of time, and we may think that it's not that easy. But if you can plan it, then the delivery will be much easier, and it will be good for the students and also for you. Like if we can plan everything in advance. I mean, earlier we used to have like a teaching plan and other things, but generally you should have an instructional management system. How you are going to instruct them? Okay. Then another option they say is that teach with a variety of strategies. And one strategy may be suitable for one set of students, but the same strategy may not be good for another set of students, or there may not be variety. Like so, you have to think what different ways we can teach actually, how different varieties, different strategies we can adapt to teach something. Say, for example, programming, I mean, I teach programming the way I usually give a simple demonstrative purpose program first before talking about any elements of a program like loops or what you call different types of data types. Before saying anything about that, and just to show a program. So then they will get a complete picture. Oh, this is how it looks like. So from the beginning and the stop, you have lines. Then you will know this is where you can write whatever more you want to write. So then I will also show you how to compile it and run it actually. But in many systems, like those who are familiar with the Windows systems, they will click and they will run it actually. They wouldn't know, the students wouldn't know. Actually, they are converting the high-level language code into a machine code. Then they are running in the machine code. That they may not get that idea actually. So they will write and click and they get the answer. But we should make them understand that we are converting that into this. That's why we call it as a compiling. So we have to compile. Why should we have to compile? Why can't we run the program, the source code we have written? So that you have to say. And now I will come to that. Actually, there are minimal teaching. There is a philosophy like a minimal teaching. You should not teach more, and they have to do it. And many things they learn by doing it. So that kind of philosophies are also there. There are some people that question this kind of philosophy also. So, and when you teach something, say for example, programming, I would say again, like programming, you have to show them different programs, how that program, I mean, the example programs we provide, you explain step by step what happens with this program, everything, then they will get a lot of things. This is one way of teaching them, actually. So, by just explaining, showing a lot of program, they wouldn't learn programming. They have to do it, right? So either you can ask them to do the same program, run it and get the expected result or not, that you can say. But then you can give a slightly different program, they have to do it. So we have adopted two approach. No? One is demonstrating, discussing the program. Second approach is ask them to do the program. So that is a different strategy. So and the strategy may be different actually. You have to adopt a different variety of strategies for that. Maybe some videos with that or some programming. I mean, that you have to think about with different strategies you can adopt to teach some particular concept to the students. That is there. Okay, so then use assessment to inform students their achievement actually. So you have to constantly assess the students. Otherwise, and you should also convey the result to the students. Then only they will know how much they know, how much they don't know, etc. Actually, so that kind of thing you have to assess them. Personalized learning is also a main thing actually. So you have to assess them, keep that passion actually. So the main thing with that, I would say that the teacher should have the passion first. Otherwise, how can he impart that passion to the students? While teaching, you should be that passionate about teaching. Then if you are very passionate about teaching, naturally that kind of passion will transfer over to the students actually. I mean, that is what I personally think actually. If we don't have any passion for teaching, how can they have the passion for learning? So we should be very passionate about that, and students should also be very passionate about teaching actually. So there are very many different qualities of a teacher that make a teacher very popular or a successful actually. From our own experience, if you think about when we were students, actually we liked some teachers, right? We did not like all the teachers. There were some favorite teachers. If you think about that, if you think about them, some teachers we like very much may not be very good teacher, very knowledgeable teachers. Like we know that they are not very knowledgeable, but we still like them. Like them, some qualities are there like that motivate the student to learn. Like. So we like some teachers. We know some teachers who are teaching. So in that case, I would ask you, like, why can't we imbibe those qualities of those teachers so that our students will like us? Like, what are the popular teachers in our campus? Why can't we become one among them? Like, so we can imbibe those qualities. Actually, we have to continuously think about that, how to teach in a better way. As I said, I was a mathematics teacher. Nobody likes mathematics. Like, I mean, I shouldn't say nobody, but many, like even Stephen Hawking has also said, if you introduce one equation to an audience, you lose 10 from the audience. If you introduce one equation, you lose 10 from the audience. Like, when mostly people don't like mathematics and the equations. Why mathematics? And if you ask generally students, actually, if you ask them which is the most difficult subject, they will probably say mathematics is the most difficult one. Why mathematics? That's my question. Like, why, if somebody says that quantum mechanics is difficult, I can understand. Okay, quantum mechanics might be difficult. Why mathematics is difficult? Why mathematics is difficult? Everybody says actually. So then, as a mathematics teacher, you have to make mathematics interesting, right? How can you make mathematics interesting? I personally think one is the historical way of evolution, how a concept was historically evolved. Because in mathematics, A implies B and B implies A. So we say that A is implied and implied by B, like A implies B, B implies E. So you can either take A as the definition and prove B, or you can take B as the definition and prove A. But we should define how it was historically evolved. Then you can get the thinking process. What was the necessity for doing that actually? Why should have a definition? What is the purpose of that definition? Instead of simply say this is a definition, then we'll keep on proving that. So what is the purpose? Why we devise a definition? These kind of things we should particularly teach. That is what mainly we have to impart. Otherwise, provide a lot of information. Now, through internet, we can get these kind of things. So that is there, like teaching more than the knowledge. It is an art actually. A good teacher, to become a good teacher, you should be a good performer as well. Recently, there was a joke actually shared in Facebook. Nobody like everybody likes gossip, and one teacher was saying you have to go to the class and say, student is not that easy. Not students, for anybody else. If you get somebody, if to capture the attention of somebody else is a bit difficult. They have to make them learn. But this is our field and we have to do that. Okay. And come to this philosophy like minimal teaching. Minimal teaching is actually you should not teach too much. That was a concept. What is the best way to teach computer science to the beginners? Okay, this is particularly about computer science. And yeah, some people say you have to do only do minimal teaching. Say, for example, one or two programs you have to tell them, explain them. Then you ask them to write programming. So, and their argument is that they will learn only by doing it, writing programs. Suppose you have explained 100 programs or 200 computer codes, each program line by line you might have explained, but it doesn't make them a good programmer. They have to write a program, they have to make mistakes, then by where is the mistake, they have to identify the mistake, they have to learn it. By doing programs only they will learn. That is the philosophy behind it. This is not only for computer science, it's also for other especially say mathematics and other branches. You have to teach the minimum, then the remaining thing they have to learn by themselves, by giving problems, they will giving what a task or something, they have to do it and learn by themselves. So that is the best knowledge there. So this school of thought, they say you should not teach too much. Minimal instruction. They have to learn that thing. Then there was some experiment. So this slide says that originally in 1985, these people worked on a research problem. So they have 5 examples, kind of 5 studies with this similar setups. There were 2 groups of students, okay? 2 groups of students, each of which is shown 2 worked out algebra problems. Also, each group was shown how to solve an algebra problem, a set of algebra problems. They were taught how to solve those problems. Then in the experimental group, they get 8 more algebra problems completely worked out. Okay, so the first thing they did is for both the groups, they taught how to solve the algebra problems. There are two sets of this. Then they gave another set of problems fully worked out. 8 more problems, algebra problem, completely worked out. So they can go through it and learn it actually. All right. After that, both the groups are given some problem to solve it. Then the result says that our control group solves these 8 more problems. As you might imagine that the control group takes 5 times as long to complete the 8 problems than the experiment group takes to simply read them. Both the groups then get new problem solved. The experimental group solves the problem in half the time and with fewer errors than the control group. So this is an argument against minimal teaching. Minimal teaching. Against minimal teaching. So when you teach minimum, or you simply say the functionalities of a program like a computer language, you teach them all the functionalities like control structures, loops, and other things. All the features in the program. Then you ask them to write program like a minimal teaching. So 1 or 2 sample program. Then they will learn. That is the argument. So this study shows that this is not very good. This is not a very good approach. Maybe good in some aspect, but not always. So in this problem, you saw that each group was taught how to solve problems. Then worked out problems they were given. Those students, one group, two group. So they could go through those things. They just read it actually by reading. No, there are arguments that nobody learns anything by reading. That argument is also there. Some people say. Okay, so here one group was allowed to read us 8 more sample problems, like worked out problems. Other group they did not. So they were given, both of the groups were given new problems, but those who have read the completely worked out problems, they were very fast actually doing that. What does it imply? What is it to us? What can we learn from this experiment? So minimal teaching is not always good actually. So we have to give examples, sufficient number of examples, so that they can learn from that actually. Because one example may not give all the features or functionalities or something, so they may not get the idea. Like, so you have to give more examples, worked out example. You have to assist them. After that, if you give problems, they may solve very fast. So minimal teaching, this is one experiment against that actually. So then you have to provide visuals actually. Even in programming, even in computer science, the more visual stuff he can provide, that will be very good for learning actually. So they are visual learners, like even otherwise, if you say, suppose one picture is equivalent to 1,000 words, you say. So if you give a flow chart, it's a visual representative of the program. So that is more easy even for a computer program to understand how the flow of instructions go through the program, other than the computer code. So the maximum, to the possible extent, to the maximum, you should give visual aids for them to learn actually. For that will be progress actually. They encourage students. According to studies, encourage when the teacher or parent is associated with the students, increase interest in learning computer science. That is another thing. So you have to encourage them. Even if they have done some minor improvement, you have to congratulate them. So that make a lot of that contribute a lot for the students to learn actually. Otherwise, they may not appreciate what they have done. If you say very good. So here they say that you can be as simple as telling someone you would be a good computer science. You would be good at computer science, or you would be a good computer scientist. If you simply say a teacher, that values the most. We may think, in kindergartens and nursery school students, if they solve a problem, the teacher will put 1 star in the margin. If they've done it well, they will put 2 star or 3 star. I mean, we may think it is simple, but for the student, it is something very great achievement. I got 3 stars. We think that is not good for the grown-ups, but actually not. We may not be happy with the stars. We may be happy with something else. If you get a teacher award or something, naturally you'll be motivated. Like for a scientist, if they get an international award like Nobel Prize or something, naturally they will be rewarded. Like, they will be motivated to do it further. Like so, everybody likes encouragement. So we have to encourage them, telling some motivation or whatever the compliments you can give, you have to give to encourage students to learn. That is one thing. We have to. We should not be very what you call. Limited to say something. So whenever they do something, you have to always encourage for all the students. And some people say decode the code. Researchers from the University of Chicago developed a scratch project exploration strategy based on reading comprehension strategies. These strategies cover the students' approach. You have to have what you call take them along this one. Right? See, for example, each code you have to what is that? But handheld and move forward. Like you have to take them forward through the subject. Otherwise, if you give a very complex code, you might think that they will be appreciated. They will appreciate very complex code. Oh, this much complex. No, but they may not learn actually. So initially, you have to take them through the code, explain all those things. So the strategy overperform the control group and computer science questions like methodology. Suppose you give a code, a complex code, not code. This is an example. Even otherwise, any branch of science. Suppose if you have a machine learning technique, like how machines learn something. Suppose if you have a code or a program or algorithm or something, initially you have to explain line by line, code by code, or step by step. They have to take them through the code. Then they will understand. Otherwise, if you simply give a very fantastic code and they may not learn actually. You have to what is that code? They have to decode. In the sense, maybe one programming code, one line may be there. They need to know what that code stands for, what that line stands for. So that initially you have to explain. After sometimes then they will learn. But initially you have to be with them. You have to be with them explaining line by line what is it being done. Like then only they will. So that otherwise if you simply give a general instruction or ask them to learn, and these studies say these are all actual real learning studies. Actually, these research papers on education, they say this is the best method, especially for computer science students. Actually. Leverage peer-to-peer support. Actually, assign role to students. When you give a group activity to the students, actually, you have to assign each student what each student should do. Actually, assign role to students who would be working in groups. Individual accountability. Group rewards can help students with the learning disability succeed. Prepare students for collaboration by explicitly teaching strategies and language for asking or providing them with peers. So when you group activity, when you give, you have to give accountability in the sense each student should be assigned something. So what they are supposed to do, these kind of things you should say in advance. I mean, you should give. Assign roles to the tech support actually. So maybe you can ask one good student, he may be good at one particular aspect, then you can assign that you have to support other students for doing this. So this kind of the thing will also this posing teacher created question to guide exploration. Maybe the one student can ask questions, which the questions may be what you call prepared by the teacher and for others to understand. The relevance in crucial for the maximum student get your problems to be meaningful and connected with values. That is one problem with the STEM education. You might have heard of STEM: science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. STEM education. Okay, you might be. This is very. I mean, another thing not connected with this particular thing. If you are interested in doing research, STEM is a very good area nowadays. There are a lot of research papers coming out in this area, like STEM education. STEM education. Lot of research papers. So you can read a few research papers on STEM. And that is also a good area to do research, especially maybe in your field, like computer science and STEM, how that is related. There are a lot of research papers in this area. I mean, it is getting a lot of attention also there. So when you teach something, they should know what is its relevance in terms of communities. Suppose if you learn something, how it is going to solve their problem of the society, or how it is going to problem there, that you have to connect some way. Like, say for example, suppose if you write a machine learning code, that machine learning algorithm or computer code diagnose a patient. Like, if you give chest X-rays of two kinds of people, like with different diseases, whether a machine learning program, computer code can distinguish this person has got this particular disease or not, that or the other disease. If it, then they will be interested to learn that thing, like how this is going to help in real society. So relevance, we have to always say, at least in broader terms. Maybe a particular thing, if we teach, we may not be able to say what this particular thing is going to have, but that is the part of a major thing. And the major, you have to give the relevance why one should learn all these kind of things, like that you have to give, that you have to say. Then develop a development mentality, like a growth mentality, growth mindset you have to develop in the students. Like, you may teach and they learn, but apart from that, you have to develop, you have to somehow make them develop a development mentality, in the sense growth mentality. In the sense they want to learn, I want to learn more, I want to succeed in life, I have to go for further studies, or this that kind of thing you have to somehow imbibe in them, like so you have to think about that, how we can make the students learn better, and that kind of mentality. Actually, mostly many things, it depends upon mentality, like even for us teachers, how we approach things, our bend of thinking. That makes some people see, for example, just for the sake of job, we do the teaching. Like, for some, there is an enjoyment. Some people who do research, actually, even if they don't get any monetary benefit or any other thing, they really do some research because they are passionate about. They have to. So we have to, right from the beginning, somehow we have to make them develop mental ability. This actually you cannot. It may not be that easy with a group, actually. So you need to know individual person in a class. Actually, individually you need to know your students, who is good in this, who is not there. So growth mindset, you have to have to encourage a student to adopt a growth mindset. A nice examples, maybe historical examples, some well-known people, how they became very successful with their attitude, how that attitude has helped them. These kind of stories, you have to think about that. Even otherwise, everything is a story. Like, everybody likes stories. Everybody likes stories. So if you can make this one, that is minimal, since I said no, minimal instruction, less teaching, more exercise. They have to learn things by doing, actually. But it may not be helpful always. There are a lot of the idea is that you have to learn from experience. That's the best way of learning it. Suppose if you make a lot of mistakes in programming, you have to persist with that, actually. But the perseverance is not that common with the students, actually. If they fail 2-3 times, they will leave it. They should not do that, actually. So we have to encourage them. I mean, but if you can learn from experience, that's good, but may not be that the minimalist approach is a central principle is to provide fewest possible impediments to learners' effort to accommodate, even to exploit learning techniques, generate issues. So actually, you give materials, but you don't explain too much. Actually, they have to learn by doing it. The idea is to allow students to get more out of their training experience. They may fail in doing it, but by failing it, they will learn why it failed, and they will learn the correct thing. Okay, so um, the the basic assumptions underlying minimum instruction. Okay, I said, actually, the provide students with genuine issues. Then you give what you call challenges, so that they can solve. So you give the minimum basic stuff for solving that problem, but you did not elaborate too much. They have to learn it by doing it. They may fail the first time, but later on they will learn. So even if they learn something by doing mistake or something, that will last with them. Like, so other than just learning it. But there are questions. Some people don't like this. This is like people should learn to program by generating programs from the fundamental facts of the language, and they should do it in the same manner as a specialist to do. This is, some people don't like this, actually. They question this approach. They say minimal instruction is not good, actually. So studies show that this minimally guided education does not work. There are a lot of studies also. You instruct a minimal thing, you teach, and they ask them to learn by doing it. Many studies shows that it does not work. So you have to teach them sufficient enough. so that they can get. So you can give exercise, you can give challenges, ask them to do, but the minimum stuff you should teach. You should teach. Uh, and some people even interesting. The Copa paper worked on example studies of 5 similar setup. They also did this kind of experiments whether this is good or bad. Actually, there are a lot of comments also. These are all comments from internet. I collected actually. Some says, why does CS computer science expect students to learn to write before they learn to read? No, the minimal approach is that they say if you read a lot of progress, you won't learn anything. You have to simply code it. You have to simply write the computer program. Then only you will learn. That is the minimal approach. Then this fellow asked actually, why do you computer scientists expect a student to learn to write program before they read it actually? So first you have to read it, no? Then only we can. So there are questions with me, and then you have to find out what will be the best thing. Suppose if he can come up with something of your own, that would be really good actually by collecting all of this. And one more thing I wanted to say in connection with these things, we in schools we have the training for pedagogy. Training is there. In colleges and universities you don't have any training. You are if you have done a PhD, you are an expert in the field actually, and you are asked to teach when you have become a professor, right? So you are not trained how to teach. You are not trained. So you might have learned in one particular way, all the stuff you have learned, you might have learned in one particular way. That might not suit other students. Like, how we are going to deliver to the students? Because in college also they don't get any, they don't get any much training on this. So I personally tend to think you have to develop your own technique, and finally the end result is whether the students are coming out colorful that or not. That's a question. Whether students really learn doesn't matter which method you have adopted. So you have to do a little bit of research about this. You have to plan a systematic. Then, of course, you will be a successful and popular teacher in your campus. Okay. So there are opinions against and this. Empirical evidence such that reading and see. Just a minute, sorry. Sorry for that. So empirical evidence suggests that reading problem can help develop problem solving skill, just to solving more problems, but at a certain level of experience. I mean, the work's expertise reversal effect, for which the more important problems solved than to read the worked out example. There are different aspects. If you go to Wikipedia, there are a lot of stuff on this subject. Actually, you have to decide which one is good. My personal opinion is that sufficient enough material you should give. You have to explain things, then only you can ask them to do. Otherwise, they will learn, but they will take more time. If you teach minimal stuff and ask them to do something, exercise, challenges or something, if you give, they will take more time. That's the thing. You can't expect them to learn very fast. Okay. Then effective teaching method. There are very many different effective teaching methods actually. So this is also an area of interest actually. How we can effectively teach. If you can devise better method, your job will also be easy in life. There are a lot of tools also with all this. I was talking about face-to-face talking and direct teaching method mostly. Now we have a hybrid and other stuff. There are a lot of tools also. I don't know how good we are in making video, editing video, recording video. In the end, I'll talk a little bit about the other tools. If you are very particular, I can show you some video editing tool. I mean, generally teachers, they're a bit hesitant to do all the editing, and they are good at teaching, and somebody else should do the editing. But I suggest, especially those who are from the computer science background, you can easily edit. There are very good free editing tools, and if you can make very nice videos, actually, very what you call illustrative videos, easy to understand videos on a particular subject. If you have a collection, definitely it's useful for your students, not only for your students. If you can publish online, like in YouTube, and you become very popular also. So that is a good stuff actually. In India we say that no satyam vada priyam vada. We have to tell the truth, but in a very what you call Priyagaramayi, I mean, in a very positive way to tell. So, like that is a subject, a scientific subject also the truth with the science subject you have to convey. But how you are going to convey that? If there is a good video with illustrative examples, jokes, and other things, then it's very interesting to watch. I mean, students will be motivated to watch all those things and learn fast actually. So if you can make good videos, there are a lot of tools. I will, if I get time, I'll elaborate. Otherwise, I will show you some tools also at the end. I don't know most of them because the pandemic. Many of you might be already making good videos actually. But some people tend to hesitate to make videos or edit videos. They will ask somebody else to edit it. But you can do there a lot of things. Okay, so there are different or very many different methods by which you can make your teaching very effective. So most of the stuff are there online. You can search many things. How can you make the teaching very effective? Suppose you want to convey something, deliver some part of the course, actually, the part of our syllabus. One method may be suitable for the other part, it may be a different method you have to adopt. So these are some of the things reported in the internet, like online learning. Now you can teach them online. I mean, certain things, I will show you some videos I have made on computer programming, especially parallel programming, how to set up a parallel computer, like cluster computer, very easily, like MPA cluster and all. So, I mean, students will be motivated, like, making small, short videos and experimental learning. So in the sense, the students need to do something, they experience something, they have to do some experiment, and through the experiments, they learn the principles. So then they will encounter the real problems other than fictional problems we usually say in the classes, like real problems they will encounter while doing something. It may not go as per the plan. So they will learn. So what are the different things, stuff like. Then a better way to approach differentiation is to teach in a variety of ways, including books, mediums, verbal presentation, etc. The same stuff you can teach in very many different ways. So one strategy may be suitable for one set of students, for other students maybe different stuff like. So books, images, verbal presentation, etc. Like. Then you all know we're all talking about blended way of learning, like. I mean, here comes the virtual reality, augmented reality. I mean, now there are a lot of stuff like about virtual reality, not just enriched virtual learning. Like, see, I mean, these stuff, all the tutorials may not be that common in colleges. We all talk about that. It may not be that practical in colleges to incorporate these kind of things in the class. But at least we should know this is there, like, and to the extent possible, we can imbibe those technologies, but may not be always possible. The last thing or the most talked about area these days is gamification of the learning. Like, what do you mean by gamification of the learning? Suppose you are programming, you are teaching program. Why students are getting addicted to gaming? People are getting addicted to gaming because if you succeed at something, you get some reward. Some rewards. Say, some students would, some gamers, they say I could reach up to this level of the game. Like, so then they feel like they have accomplished something. That will what you call enhance their esteem. So similarly, suppose in a programming language or something, a student reaches one particular level, then you give some reward, like at least on badge, or at least you say congratulations, something like that. So if you can give some kind of encouragement, reward for whatever the level they achieve, whatever the points they learn, then it will motivate them, because other students they might give more points or something. So this is what the concept behind the gamification. It is getting a lot of attention these days. Finally, student-centered learning. Ultimately, whether all these things we say, all these things. Finally, what makes is one method may not be suitable for all students. Similarly, one method may not be suitable for all teachers. One teacher may be good at one thing, other teacher may be good at some other things. But what is the most convenient for you, that you have to adopt? So it should be good for the students as well, because ultimately the students, that is your aim, right? The students to learn. Maybe one methodology may be very suitable or convenient for you, but ultimate aim is whether the students learn it or not. So if one technology is very convenient for you, then adapt it, modify it, make it suitable for the students as well, so that they can learn actually. So adapt it. And these are some of my personal experiences I'll share. So my way of teaching something is to see, for example, I'll tell you one example. Now, how did we learn languages, even our mother tongue, in the schools? So if we ask somebody how can you teach a language, we probably would say that first you have to learn alphabet, right? You have to learn the alphabet. Then we have to learn the words, at least the basic words, connecting words, all those words you have to learn. Then we have to make sentences. We have to learn how to make sentences with the words. That is how we learn a language. Now, this, if you ask anybody, most of the people would say this is how you learn a language. First, of the alphabet. But in reality, this is not the way we learned our mother tongue. At least in Kerala, we learned Malayalam not by this way in primary schools. They gave some very simple words initially, like some words were the first thing we learned initially, like gave words. So something to motivate, like so. Usually, when I teach programming, I usually give a complete program, but simple program, and I explain line by line what it does. I will first, then because if you write a program, the students, those who haven't written anything at all, any program at all, suppose you write A is equal to 10, B is equal to 20, C is equal to A plus B, then it will give you the value of C. So how does it, if you simply write it, how you going to get it? Then you have to tell them, you have to combine it and run it at you. So when I usually teach a complete program, then combine it, then I'll explain what combining means, then you run the program, then you get the answer. Then we could probably say in the beginning and end, in between, you can write so many other things. There are a lot of features in the language, those kind of way you can write, then you can make most of the stuff. Then they will understand. Apart from that, if you simply say, start telling maybe first language, okay, the different types of vertical variables you teach, and then all the logical operators, arithmetic operators, then loops, all other things, or this control structure. If you teach one by one all the features of the language, then you start writing program, they may not pick it up. The best thing is show an example program then. See, for example, artificial intelligence, if you want to teach, actually, this is how I start. And when you say that artificial intelligence and all, the students, this is for students actually. So we have to, we have to give some motivating example. Wow, artificial, this the computer can do. Then they will get interested. Initially, the first thing, I won't even tell what artificial intelligence is. I'll just ask, can a computer write a poem? Okay, computer write a poem. So there are websites for writing using AI-based thing. So this is an example, like say for example, I'll show you an example. This is what I usually show them. Okay, there is a website called Poem Generator. Okay, poem-generator.org.uk. I'll just go to the site. This for the students. I'll just show the site actually. Then let us write a poem. Let us first click on the quick poem. Okay, quick poem. Then what kind of the poem you need to show? So I'll say, let us have a happy poem. Then it will ask what is the gender, whether you are a male or female. Okay, because the characteristics of the poem written by a male will be totally different from the characteristics of a poem written by a female. So it asks male or female. Then what is your poem is about? I'll say I'll write a poem about rose flower. Okay, I'm going to write a poem about rose flower. Then give 2 adjectives. Okay, I gave 2 adjectives. Then write a poem. No, it is writing a poem. The thing is, this is for a teaching. So I'll initially, without talking anything about artificial intelligence or machine learning or anything, I'll show this actually. So this poem is written. Whose rose is that? I think I know. It is the one is quite happy, full of joy, like a vivid rainbow. I watch him laugh. Good poem, right? So Now, then the point is, then I'll tell them this is not a poem written by any human beings. We gave this on the website. You might think that it was written by somebody in the company run by this website. Those who wrote the program. No, this is written by a computer. Then I'll tell how this poem was generated, how the program learned how to write. We cannot instruct something to write. We can just reorder the words or copy something. It could be done usually with the conversion kind of thing. But machine learning, so machine learned from the. If you look at the poems, it is similar to the poems written by Robert Frost because it has been trained with the Robert Frost poem. So that influence will be there. So when you show this, usually all my experience, not only for classes, even for general talk, those who are not very much into the computer science, if I show this, they will be very much enthused. So after that, if I talk about the machine learning or the techniques, how then, at least even in principle, they'll be very attentive in the class. Like, so this make enthusiasm. I learned this because some people say when you give a talk, the first sentence, the first thing you talk about is very, you should be very concerned about it. You should be very careful. Like, see, for example, if you go to an podium and start saying that I'm going to give a lecture on this, that already they know because even before them, they will be, it will be announced such a person is coming and he will be talking on a particular subject. So you need not repeat something. So initially that will give some kinds of what you call aversion to the talk. So they say you have to start your talk with an amazing fact, some amazing fact. So no, which will put some kind of amazement into the audience. Then they will start become curious to know the later on what you are going to talk later on. When there were examples like the number of people ever lived or living today, the number of people living today on the earth is greater than higher than the number of people ever lived on the face of earth. That we may not think, no. So this is an amazing fact. So you have to start with an amazing fact which is connected to the subject of a talk. So that is what people usually say when you give a talk. So like that, when you introduce a subject, I think an amazing example might be good. Actually, I will usually show this this way, like a poem generator. Sometimes I'll also show how to generate a what you call especially about machine learning and how to generate machine can draw a picture. I will show that site. There are sites actually. If it is there, I will show you. Okay, let me check. There is a site actually that will draw pictures. See, this is a site actually. This is also a site which will draw pictures from verbal instruction. Like if I simply write a monkey in the garden, it will draw pictures. These are not photos. These are not pictures pictures drawn by some people. It was something created by by an artificial intelligence-based system, like, by a computer. I can simply say to a newcomer. Maybe if you can write rose flower in a forest. Okay, something like if you say the AI-based system will draw a picture. So this is not something which a human being is not. So if you show these kind of examples, then you start teaching. Naturally, I think that will catch their attention. They will be interested to learn this, how it has been done. So what is the technology? They'll be curious. You can generate curiosity into the subject. Then they will be interested. So the system will. Usually, I show these kind of example first, and then I will start teaching. Before that, I won't usually. Actually, it is very interesting. I mean, if you just give some example, what you call text, and based on understand the system, understand the text, and then draw even pictures, it's a bit interesting, right? So, especially so this you can generate in almost every subject. This is particularly about AI, but even if you have conventional way of teaching and how that happens, identify a nice example at the beginning before you start. See a flower, rose flower. Yes, these are not photos. And also tell them you can go to Google and search for rose flower. It will give a lot of rose flower. But those are real flowers. Somebody might have taken the photo. But these are drawn by AI systems. Not it never existed. New drawings. Right? So this is I found this is a good way of telling things. Like, so I'll first tell this kind of example, then I will start teaching actually. So these are some steps which I have learned from my own experience. Like you might have better experience or better way to tell. We can share if you have some new idea, good to share among us actually. So this is how I start. So it will create interesting. So and another thing I peculiar is I have a personal what you call kind of relation with almost all students. Like that is how they should find us as a friend or something you can always depend on. So that also make teaching very effective. Like not the subject alone. Draw picture on this. This is what we have seen, and yeah, people nowadays says about gamification of learning. Like it's a new trend. So whether you can make the subject you are teaching as a game or something, gaming in the sense that whatever they do, you have to give some kind of reward. So yeah, when you get the reward and you are alone, nobody will mind. Then you may not get that feeling actually. Some people they sit in their home and they won't even move out. Always be playing games like. So then you might wonder, so what's the fun? Because nobody knows. Because he always at home. Actually, he has a community in the internet. Internet. You want to show that I got more points than somebody in the internet. Like. So in this gamification reward only matters when there is a society. If you are the only person in the world and if you get Nobel Prize, what's the point? Like, so you get some prize or reward or something, and if you have a society which appreciate, then it is meaningful. So in the community, so in the class actually, those who have done something, you give some reward, then it will be appreciated by others in the class. It should be a community-based activity, like a social activity. So then students will be motivated to learn more, like creativity, new things, appreciate them. And many universities give tips for teach professors also how to become a good. This is one from one particular university. They say these are the tips actually how to for professors how to become a good professor, a popular professor, a successful professor. Many universities give. You can search online how to collect these kind of things. Allow students to contact you after the college time. When in India the situation is different, we always be in touch with our students, especially in the college or in the university where you are teaching. But in many universities, there is a prescribed time. Only when you can, the students can go and meet the teacher. Otherwise, they have to get a prior appointment to discuss something. If you want to clarify something, question something, and all. So that is there. Like in many universities abroad, or you have to get send an email, get a prior admit, appointment, etc. But see, we may think that teaching is the best way you teach, they learn actually, because this kind of personal relation also matters a lot in for there to teach motivation and other things. So if you are available to them, not only for exact teaching doubts or the subject related, academic related subject, even for career kind of relation, where to get other, then also that will also students learn more better. These are our studies. These are because we are all have a psychology also. Like we are in a society, social animal. We need some kind of social, what you call appreciation, etc. Social approval kind of thing. So allow students to contact you even after college time. Then that is good. If you do that, you will be popular. You will be friendly with the students. Not only that, they will tend to learn more actually of yourself. Teaching should not belong only to the room. You can invite them to library, computer lab, etc. That also you can think about. Many, say for example, geology teachers. Geology teachers take the students to field actually to show different geological structures or something like. So suppose your subject, especially computer programming, you can take them to the lab. Not only that, wherever that helps them to learn more, you can take them. At least if there is a big computer laboratory somewhere around your college or something, you can take them one day to visit them. If there is a supercomputing center or something, then they will be motivated. So teaching not only confined to the room. That is what it says. Teaching happens always. Like you can take them around. Suppose you might be taking some students to the canteen and have a cup of tea together. You will be having tea together. So during the time also they may ask questions. You may discuss. That will also motivate them to learn more. And another thing is that personal relation. Know your students by name. Know your students by name. Advise students for their career and academic opportunities. Because you have, as a teacher, you have a lot of experience. You did research and other thing. You might have learned in many different universities or many institutions. You have a lot of experience. Share with them, and because they are new to this field, so that will also help. Share your personal experience also. Suppose you try to learn something, even if you have that was a failure, tell them why it failed and what was the failures when they attempt to do something. So then they will somehow connect with you, understand the difficulty in real life. All those things we can put together. You should have a personal relation with all the students like that. So these are the tips given by universities to their teachers. So you can search and you'll get very nice things. Then I will tell you some kinds of tools now. Maybe if time permits, I'll even show you some video editing tools. I don't know. Because most of you might already know how to edit videos. Because of the pandemic, everybody was creating videos recently. But there are nice good things. I'll show you one or two, couple of my video, these kind of things. Okay. So all the tools you have to take. These are part of the delivery process, how to deliver the course, video conferencing. Now everybody knows what video conference is. There are a lot of good things. There is something called the Jitsi. You might have heard of. Jitsi is free also. Jitsi, and there are paid thing. And you can many video conferencing. You can even install it. In our university, we installed Jitsi actually, so that is free. You can. Big Blue Button is also very popular among academic circles. But we installed GC, that's also free. Something you can install it in your server. Otherwise, you can use this kind of thing. Most of now, many things are free, but after some days it may not be free. Then it is better to install your own thing. Yeah, one of you may not be able to install it, but you can ask somebody in the college or university to install it in some server or something. But it's only for within that. Video conferencing, that takes a lot of computing, because if all the cameras are on, it's taking a lot of computing power. So that is one problem. Then you need to know how to make videos. And I'll tell you, one thing about the videos I'll tell you is that I know many universities, they think that you should have a very costly video studio for making videos. Actually, not. That is what my experience is. One of the central universities, Kerala, also one professor was telling me, in the university, many teachers are telling me you have to invest 50 lakhs for a studio. These kind of things. Actually, very, very cheap. You can make very good quality videos, actually. See, for example, what it makes a video, you need a camera, right? Many SLS for 75,000 rupees, you get a very good video. Nowadays, what you call that, mirrorless cameras are there, video cameras, not the SLS. That's very good, actually, mirrorless SL, not SLR, mirrorless. So if you mirrorless camera, if you buy that, is really good. Even with a good webcam, you can make a very good video. Only problem with the webcam is that, if you are moving around, have a quality. Now it comes with the HD quality. So webcam is there. Then a good audio device would also be there. You must think that for video, sound is not that important, but it is not like that. The sound is the most important thing to make a video very attractive. So you need to have a good mic. So mic is also, you can buy, it's not that costly, you can set up a good one. Other thing is that you need a green background. That cloth you can buy is very cheap actually. So suppose if I had a green background, I can extract myself alone and then put it in some other background. So as if I will be sitting or standing in some other environment to make it very attractive. So it will be very professional kind of thing. Then you need to know a little bit about studio setting and these are cheap LED bulbs are more than enough actually. So there should be a front camera in a video making. So they say studio, they say they should have three lighting source, one major source from one angle, around 45 degree from the front. The other side not that bright. The one back or hair camera, they say to extract the edges from the background blue. Okay, so this is enough. We can make what I'm trying to say is that you can make very good videos. Of course, when you record it, it's not good. Not good. When editing, you can make it much better, like much better. You can make it. So initially, my experience is that when the pandemic came, or even before that, I started recording. Then the problem is that I used to make a script, actually. Script. Always it is better to have a good script. But I personally tend to speak without any script. So initially my problem was that I'll tell something because it is recording, like I get stuck and I may not be able to continue with that. Then I'll restart the recording. Now that is not required. When you have an editing software, you can remain one. So record a half an hour video, half an hour lecture or 1 hour lecture in 20 segments, like 5 minutes or 2 minutes you talk, record that one video or nothing. They can put together in a video editing software. There are many very good free softwares so videos are important. I don't know whether I have shown the screen or not. There is this one. Videos are getting a lot of importance. See, this is a statistic. Actually, the content of video in education sector is ever increasing. Actually, all is institutions put together. This is an international scenario, not from India. All institutions put together in 2014 to 2017, even before pandemic, the number of video content, the amount of video content in teaching is increasing. See, it's only increasing in percentage classes fall off. See, and public universities still increasing number of videos. So private universities video is getting increased. Public Bama colleges and the community college. You took look at any segment of education sector. Content, video content is increasing. So that is why I'm telling that it's better to learn how to make videos like by yourself. Of course, if you can hire somebody, they will edit it, but it's not required. One problem with somebody else is editing your videos, they don't know the subject, what to show, at what point, how it should be shown, and they may not know. So if you can learn, make it as a hobby. It's a hobby. It's a nice hobby. You can make nice videos. And there are a lot of tutorials on YouTube also, like how to make some boys are making really good videos. So why can't we? Okay. Then screen capture software. There are a lot of screen capture softwares. So that's the simplest way of making a video. Like in the screen, whatever is shown in the screen will be captured. I usually use Linux operating system. There are a lot of this kind of software comes free in Linux actually. One suggestion I would make is, and most of you are from computer science background, I would say that I know many from computer science, you might be very familiar with Linux. I personally, those who are using Windows, try to switch over to Windows. This is my personal opinion because I'm doing a lot of research in computational science. I should not say that computer science. I do simulations for science purpose, these kind of things. But this operating system is very convenient, lot of tools, and at least those who are not from computer science, one thing is that it does not have virus. Ubuntu comes with almost 8,000 pieces of software free of cost. You can even make it as a parallel computer, but you can have it MPI cluster just by one command. So, because your latest i5 processor comes with a 12 core. So your process will work as 12 different computers simultaneously. Whether you are making use of it or not is a question, right? So if you have Linux, it's good. So there are a lot of screen capture softwares in Linux actually. Then classroom management system, what we call the LMS. So I was told you'll be having all the sets in the LMS, Moodle platform. There are many different ways of many different platforms like LMS. The Moodle is the most popular. It's really good actually. So you can attach that. Many things you can even video conference you can have within that also. Moodle is really good. So you should have. Then there are a lot of tools actually, like Prezi, you might have heard. This is an equivalent of. I'll show you Prezi is something like what should I say? How do you make a presentation? You can make it in PowerPoint, right? or if you are using Linux, Impress you can make. But you can, HTML5 is really good because most of you are from computer science background. HTML5, you can even rotate some text into 360-degree and other things. So you can make it really attractive. Why I am telling like this is, I mean, you have to capture the attention of the student, no? So the visual impact is really, it really matters actually. Uh, uh, I'll show some examples. Let me check. Let me check. See, these are really interesting stuff. In the one is called Prezi is a commercial software. Instead of that, there is something else is there. I'll show you if it is there. Yeah. It's not a single slide. How you notice it's a single different slide. See, each one is a different slide, but we can put it together. You can rotate it, make it laugh. Suppose if you are giving a class, at least for the curiosity of this, at least because of the animation, this one, the students will watch. It will capture attention. See, beautiful. Right? If you know, because in HTML5 you can make it actually. So Prezi is the commercial website. You can make this kind of presentation. But this is in the Impulse JS. If you really know HTML5, you can write it. Otherwise, I will tell you one site called struct. I can share the link on the chat. If possible, one comment was there. I did not notice that. If possible, please list out the slide. Difficult in noting down. Yeah, I will give this one. No, don't worry. Even I can share this PPT. What I'm showing the slide. Prezi was only online, right? Yeah. I mean, one question is like Prezi works on online only, and Prezi is commercial. Free, certain features as trend or academy can very nice videos. But this one I will tell you the struct. It is website is called the struct. I know. I mean, I will tell you one more thing. If you really know HTML5, you can develop code. You can write the HTML code and make all this. But that is bit time consuming and difficult. But you have to drag and drop the system, the platform should make the HTML code, right? So for that proceeds there. Very nice, interesting videos you can make. But I mean, slides you can make. But at the same time, struct is one similar one. Struct, STRU no C, strut.info. You go to this website, a lot of tutorial, you can make the same one I have shown you. You can make in the struct. And that will work only one. No. If you can download and install this struct in your Linux laptop, but it is a local host. You know, it's like a local host. I mean, you don't have to have an internet connection. You can install a struct in your laptop. For what is a software you can, you need this very other software. You are using the software using browser. So in the browser, wherever you type google.com, instead of that, you type a local host if you are installing that in your laptop, your computer. So that is the server is your own system. Local host, it will work. Otherwise, if you don't want to install it in your system, you can use it in online. Like, then you can download it also. After making it, you can download it. Otherwise, you can present online. You can put because it is HTML. No? Any browser, you don't have to carry your PPT wherever you put it in some website. You go to that place, open the internet, and go to that site. You can present directly. In a browser, you can hide all this tag and all. That is also possible. No? You know how to hide all these tabs and all. This high. So you like it kind of it's like a movie one. Very interesting, right? I like it. So that's why I thought of sharing it with you. Because many of you know, Prezi is a commercial, this is a free one. This is a free one. HTML for struct actually. This is really good. It shows the features, like what are the features, like now everything you can do. See, it will come. I mean, see, you make one point like this to the students. Naturally, they will do. Even after lunch, they will at least watch it. They won't sleep. See, nice, looking nice. It's not a movie, just a HTML file. Right? Okay, that is one thing I wanted to share. There are a lot of tools like this. Then you might all know about Quillbot. Suppose you are making teaching lecture notes. Okay, lecture notes. You might have taken the matter from some other source. Then copyright violation is there. You have to rewrite it, the content. You cannot use asset. So that is what paraphrasing is about. Something if you have taken and it will write in a different way. Um, the question, I mean, before that, let me tell you, somebody asked whether Prezi works only online. Yeah, Prezi works only online. But Struct, you can even install it in your own laptop also. You need to know how to install it. It is all there in the Struct website, I think. Okay. Then coming back to Quillbot. Quillbot is a paraphrasing software. If you type something, it will rewrite. It's good for making lecture notes or study material. I will show you Quillbot. You can buy it. This is not that costly. I bought this one for 1 year. Otherwise, yeah, I mean, you can use it free. In free, you can only use that symbol, and there's a limitation. I mean, the cost is not very high also. Suppose I copy this test. Okay, copy this test. Many of you already know, but still I'm showing it. Okay. So if I want to make it a standard paraphrase thing, it will rewrite. Then synonyms you can use. It will write in a front. And we can check similarity. There is a what is similarity. This also has some kind of plagiarism checker also if you buy. Okay, in a different way. You can make it fluency. In the means it will rewrite, but fluency is the most main thing. Right? We can make it very formal writing. Suppose you are writing a research paper or something. Then yeah, it is better to be in formal language, like simple. Even it will expand. You only put this many sentences, it will add more sentences. Here from 37 words to 47 words. They are different way. Shorten is the most beautiful. It will be totally different. So maybe for a teaching material. That's why I just thought of showing it. There are many other. Also, I found this very good. Keyword paraphrase. Before research papers also like when you write something as a research paper, there may be video scribing is also good for storyboard, whiteboard presentation. Very good. Okay, good, good. Thank you, thank you. Yeah, I mean many people know many different tools actually. So it's good. You have to be in this kind of situation. This the meeting. Okay, so this is a good paraphrase. Also, there are other things you can just search. This is free also. You don't have to buy the more features. Okay, that is one thing. Then you might have Grammarly for language actually. So that also you can buy around 10,000 rupees or so per year, yeah, and a subscription. So you can write something, it will check grammar, language, and now it comes with bit of what you call AI assistant. So it will even suggest this. So for language, I mean, these are all tools, it will save a lot of time. That is the main thing. Otherwise, we can all write, but sometimes we may not be able to have that much time to write something. So it will write, it will say how it has to be improved, synonyms, anonyms, all the words it will say. So it's a very good tool. This grammar is also a very good tool for writing. And I will tell you one example. My student, what he does is, suppose if you want to paraphrase something, why he is a PhD student working under me, he will go to Google Translate, right? Google Translate. Okay. So what he does is, if you want to rewrite something, he will copy it here. Then no, this is sorry, no, from Google Translate. from English to Malayalam. So I will say a copy. Then I will translate to some language, Portuguese language I will translate. Okay. So the equivalent of Portuguese language is this one. So I will copy this, then put it over here. Okay. Then select this one is Portuguese to some other language, maybe French or something, or Italian, I would say. So say Italian. Copy that Italian stuff, okay? Then place it over here. Then Italian to English. Italian to English. So that is what my student is doing. So he says, yeah, I mean, when you finally get it to be different English, right? That will be different. If you translate to many things, may not be that good, but grammar wise it is correct. The grammar won't be wrong. The spelling, all those things. There are good tools actually. If you can effective, what is important of a tool? Suppose if you want to remove or put a nut with your bare hand, if you put a nut, it is, you see how difficult it is. If you use the right tool, it will be much easier. That's the only thing. But basically, the creativity, the tool will not substitute. You need to have that creativity. Okay. So these are all good tools actually. I have only this one. This I have shown. Then for video editing, I usually use KDL Live or Shortcut. Open source also good. I found the KDL Live and Shortcut are much better. Both are available in Linux, free stuff for video editing. It's very good actually. Very nice videos you can make. Very nice. The only questions of your creativity. I mean, even if you shoot on your mobile phone, then you can translate to this and you can edit it, put all the stuff in the background, all the material shows. I mean, when you really shoot it in the mobile phone, it may not look very good. But when you edit it in these softwares, you can make a very professional quality kind of video. And yeah, open source is also good, and there are many different others. But I found the scheduling line and shortcut very good. Then you all know OBE Studio, no? OBE Studio, you can give live classes, like I mean, put all these on. You all might know. So yeah, you can show you my videos. I have created this one, like just for the sake, nothing very fancy, but you one video. Yeah, this video I created using just a minute. And this video I created after that. And this video I created just in OBS Studio with a very low quality webcam, not even very good webcam. See this video. See, I just created using this one. It has a running subtitle action. It has a running subtitle also. Here, see, you can see scrolling test, everything. See, I mean, this is just just a webcam, just an ordinary webcam, and I used to video this one, what you call OBS Studio to record this. I know many of you are making even better videos. I know. But for those who are not very familiar with, I say that this kind of quality video you can make with just a webcam. Sound also you should be a bit careful about. And for sound, very costly microphone, very good microphones will cost very high. But even for 10,000 rupees, you get reasonably very good this one. So what I'm trying to say is that you not need to have a very 50 lakhs to make an academic video. You are anyway not making very what we call Hollywood movies or anything. But this is enough actually. Not even very good thing you can make. This is just with OBS Studio. I put everything, all those things actually. Then yeah, these are all something how to monetize, how to make an MBA. So this is a simple video shows that how to make a cluster computer. I mean, this actually not with OBE Studio. I simply recorded with the screen capture and put it in a shortcut video. All this. So it's just time pass also. We can make. But for the students, it's really good if we can make a simple thing. I even put some how to make code and yeah. Another thing I want to say is that when you make videos, always the video should be in a static mode. It should slightly move. Actually, it should be dynamic. So, but this student should read at the same time should move also. So if you can make a drastic movement of students may not be able to read. So you have to slightly move these things. Let me show another one also. Yeah. So actually this is a standard. If I can make it a still one and record it actually, but if it is a very still one, it will be a bit more exciting. All the scenes should be dynamic, then only it will capture. And not only that, they say one scene should only be there for few seconds or something. It should change. Otherwise, it won't capture. But we are doing a bit of academic stuff, so we cannot have frequently change that scenes too frequent. But this I'm using this Blender. Blender is a very good. You can even do video editing with the Blender. Blender is a free software. With Blender is the software which even Hollywood movie makers are using for making animations, nice animations. In this particular video, I show you how to make kerning like a test type. Otherwise, it's available in Premiere Pro, but in free software, it's not there. It is not there. But in free software, how to make this? It's a simple video that actually we can put kind of stuff we can make. Yeah, this is about modeling. I mean, these things. Yeah, and another thing is that when you make a video, if you edit it in shortcut, the video size should be very huge, right? Video size will be something like 2 GB, etc. Like this, you cannot share to the students. That is also a problem. Like, how do you share this large video to the students? They are not be able to access it. So you want to make sure at the same time not lose quality much. Handbrake is a very good software for that actually, Handbrake. But if you don't know anything about that, so if you don't want to know anything, VLC player. That also I put a video somewhere here. Right? I put a video. I got that lot of how to file size in open short video. This is using VLC player. I got a lot of views for this one because everybody is searching this one. After academic video, there are a lot of. I got a first 8.2. Okay, it's not a huge one, but I'm saying. So VLC player. It's very simple. You open a video in VLC player, save it as a format. The size of the file will be much less. You don't have to do any tweaking. Everything will be done by the VLC player. But one problem is that sometimes it will be jerky, sound and video, some mismatch might be there with the sound. So how you reduce it depends. So, but only good thing is that you don't need to know much. If you simply for a classroom video, if you share it, you can easily do. Drastically different. Drastically different. Okay. So Audacity is a video editor actually. Sorry, audio editor. So Audacity, you can suppress noise. That is why I say you don't need to have a very high quality mic. Suppose if you have a moderate enough good mic, you can record it. But in Audacity, the video itself you can open. It will throw out the video part and only open the audio part. Then there are a few clips you can search on YouTube. It shows few clicks, 2, 3, or 4 clicks. You will reduce the sound or noise part. The quality will be good. You can even increase your bass sound. You can make very what you call cinematic kind of sound change with that. Yeah, this. Then the thing I would say is about online proctoring. I don't know the right thing to talk much about that. Online proctoring is invigilate. If you have a classroom 500 examination, you go to the you will invigilate. You will ask the students to write, and you will be there to watch whether they are doing any kind of malpractice or so copying or something. Right? But when you conduct an own examination online, they will be sitting in their own home and writing the exam. How do you know that they are doing any malpractices? One simplest thing is that you can install Safe Exam browser in your Moodle. Uh, Actually, safe exam browser. The thing is, when they start doing after the computer will freeze, it works only in Windows, not in Linux. It only works in Windows. So it will freeze the entire screen. So they cannot open any other tab. So they can Google it and get answer. It will only the window or the exam window will be active. They have to answer. So that is one way of doing it. But I said that no. So this effect will connect your exam in what you call computer lab. Then it is okay. I can ask them to carry your mobile phone within the lab. So that way, effect process is good actually. It's developed by the lab. So you can search for that. You can easily install it. And online portal now we have a AI assisted thing like the software will based on what you call server, it will watch the eye contact, actually eye movement. So the software will watch if a student is writing something and it is unnecessary eye movement, the people movement, then it will capture and say that there might be some malpractice or something. And it will also scan all the background noises, sound, and whether somebody is prompting you. That is when effectively be used. But as a university institute, you may not be able to install such a system because it requires all the AI stuff. And usually there are companies offering this kind of stuff. I mean, at a reasonable price, if your institute want to get, they can do this. Okay, finally, I would say that that is about online proctoring. There are a lot of tools, a lot of services available with provided by different companies. Finally, I will talk about OpenAI. You might have just check the site OpenAI, and you can register. And if you ask, because if you are making what you call study material, etc., no? We just go and type something, write a passage with about renewable energy with the references. If you say, the system will write an article for you with the references. This much beautiful tools are there nowadays. There are a lot of tools. That is what I wanted to convey. Like if we can effectively use these tools, teaching also writing research papers also good. There is a paper called the Paper Robot. So the paper robot, you can search in Scholar actually. So that software, if you give the content, it will write the abstract. And they did a study like the system wrote the abstract and also asked experts in the field to write this kind of sorry for this kind of um, abstract. Ask the experts in the field to write. Then then in many cases the system wrote a better abstract than the experts in the field. So there are a lot of good tools that we can effectively use. Okay, so I'm almost done. This is what I wanted to convey. Let us share your knowledge also. One final story I would say is that teaching is a noble profession, right? Now, this nobility, the innovation, we can only, even the administrator or the university administrator, if they give an order or something, the system will not change. Only we can change the system. And it is a very noble profession. Now, we should be noble. I will this at least. When I was a postdoc in Korea, there was a conference going on. Then one Chinese student came and was writing the paper. He said, 2 weeks there was birds flu. It was that birds flu was spreading across, and the university president said the students should not move out of the hostel. So they were confined within the room. So during that time, he said, I wrote this paper during that time. Then, I mean, I was thinking about myself. Do we say like that? So we say that because we could not move out, I could not do anything. I could not do anything. That is, we used to complain. So we could not do anything because I could not move out. But that negative side he made as a positive, and finding one professor from Caltech was attending the conference. He gave an admission for him for PhD in US. So he went to the US. Because of Bears Flu, he got an admission in the US and he presented it. That is attitude actually. So we always, generally, we complain, like at least I complain, oh, we could not do anything. Then I was thinking, particularly even in Kerala or India, we had chikungunya, we got dengue fever, whether we made any more papers. So attitude matters a lot. Attitude matters a lot. And teaching is a very novel profession. We should be, yeah, as novel. If we can make a very good, we were talking about this technology, all this. Basically, it is attitude. If we can really perform well, later we will be the most popular or successful professor walking in our campus. Right? Be great, be noble, and good. It's a real contribution to the society as well. Thank you very much for your patience. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Satheesh